it's really not.
Have you ever made an online purchase or ordered food online? For most of us, the answer is yes. And if you've ever done this with a device like your credit card or your phone, you are at risk of being compromised. My name is Bilal Mastoi, that's Aidan Quiles, and that's Mckenna, and we are Royale.
So we decided to split up this presentation into 4 parts. Number 1, what's going on? What is the problem? Why are we doing this in the first place? Number 2, plan of attack, our steps to figuring out what to make for our product. Number 3, our product, Royale. We're going to be explaining what it is, what it does, and how it will be an effective method to solve our problem. Number 4 is what's next, what are we doing after this presentation? So number 1, what is going on? Well, there is a lack of cybersecurity education to high school students, which in turn creates this job gap since there's not enough students being educated, so they're not interested in the topic of cybersecurity, so why would they pursue that job? Then, when there's less cybersecurity professionals, there's going to be a higher chance of malicious attacks, hackers, a lot of data being stolen. Finally, big companies are at risk, so why wouldn't you be at risk? Let's start with education. Only 53% of high schools offer a computer science course, which does not guarantee a cybersecurity course.
Because there is so little education in the topic, there's this huge job gap, as he was described earlier. For example, this graph that we got from Cybersecurity shows 2 very important stats. These 2 certifications, CISSP and CISA, there is more requests than actual holders for the certification. CISSP being the Certified Information Systems Security Professional certification, which is a certification you need for jobs like CIO, Chief Information Officer, which you need to protect data at a company. And these stats aren't even, it's holders and requests for the job. The holders is not accounting for people who are actually employed. So it's even worse than it looks. And because there's this job gap, it's taking a long time to hire people. This study done by Edgewater Research Center showed that as the time to employ a cybersecurity professional increased, the data is more likely to be compromised and attacked during it. This all starts in education. If we get more kids educated, your data can be safer.
So what has been used to combat this problem? First, there's been cyber competitions, such as CyberKids Patriot, that would make kids enjoy cybersecurity through a defense type game. Next, the STEM program. It offers a applied maths pathway, which offers computer science, which then offers cybersecurity course. Then there's a capture the flag type applications like Cybersecurity America that make you be the hacker and make kids think like the hacker so they can defend against the hacker. Finally, Cisco Network Academy is a website that offers some free cybersecurity courses to students. So now, what is our plan of attack?
So first, who's Lockheed Martin? Lockheed Martin is a computer science and aerospace contracting organization. And we've had the opportunity to work with Lockheed Martin to create a game to inspire younger students to take a career in cybersecurity. Our mentor, Jonathan Belkay, said that hundreds of cybersecurity jobs are going unfilled. Now think of this, if a company as big as Lockheed Martin is having trouble filling up their unfilled positions, that would make all of us at risk and our data could be compromised.
We had only 3 requirements for our product. One, that had to be interactive, as it's the best way for students to learn. Next, it had to be within 5 minutes, as it will be shown at a STEM expo where each student has about 5 minutes at each booth. Finally, obviously, it has to be related to cybersecurity.
So we decided to go with a video game for our product, mainly because we read a report done by NYU. They did a study where they found that video games can cause children to get interested in these less popular subjects, such as cybersecurity. For this game, we decided to use 3 tools. Unity is our game engine. Game engine is where you create the game, you put the assets in, and it's where it all runs. So put the code in the game, we use Visual Studio Code, so code editor, that That's where you actually code the game, where all the code is. And we use Adobe Photoshop to create the sprites and assets for our game, the visuals in our game. So before I actually show the game, I'm going to explain the rules first, because it is a little confusing at first glance. So the goal of the game is to survive 5 minutes while protecting your network on the left here. You actually just need to protect your server, which is in the middle, and the 2 PCs on the side. Once the server's health reaches 0, you lose. But if you can make it 5 minutes without dying, then you win. You need to defend yourself against these attacking cards, which every 5 seconds spawn, and another 5 seconds when you move forward. During this time, during these 5 seconds, we call them clashes. Every opposing card, defender and attacking, will attack each other. So right here, multi-factor authentication will do 2 damage to the wire shark, and wire shark will do 3 damage to the authentication. If there's a defending card in lane, the attacking card will attack directly to the PC you will serve. And now, if the PC is destroyed, like it can attack directly to the server, making these lanes actually important rather than just defending the middle. Now, to defend yourself, the player gets cards, defending cards, and at the bottom is the deck where they can choose from. To place these cards, you need bytes, which is what this ball on the right is. It refills every 5 seconds during each of these clashes, is what we call them. And the byte value of each card is shown at the top right. This red value, it's a little hard to see on the projector, but it's easier to see in the game. Now here is a video of us playing the game. It shows the beginning stages, the middle stages, and when I lose, and when I win. So as you can see in the beginning, you get access to weaker cards such as encryption or Windows Defender. They also cost us. But also there are weaker enemies to make it more balanced. So you can see here there are new enemies being introduced like ransomware, where they do 5 damage, 1 health. They each have different stats and different ways to counter. A main strategy of this game is to use your less expensive cards to take out the less health but higher damage ones. Because this game is mostly about managing those bytes. If you run out of bytes, it's really hard to win. And actually, I had a lot of trouble actually beating this game. It took me a lot of tries. As you can see, as it goes on, new attacks and new defenses are coming into the player's hands and into the game. So you can see malware there, spyware, which is a tougher card. You also have access to more powerful cards, such as the IDS rated Snort. But my personal favorite is the Firewall, which just has 5 health and 0 attack. I actually developed a couple of strategies for this. For example, using the Firewall to stall the enemies and get a bunch of bytes to further my defenses. But it's actually a really tough game. In a second here, you'll see one of my many losses after it switches here. And yeah, as you can see there, it attacked the PC there. It says 16 health now. It is really hard to defend that. So see in a second. What you might also be wondering is, what are these things? What is spyware? These are different types of actual attacks in the real world. And same with like a firewall, that's different type of defense. Here you actually see boost the game right there. And then here is actually my only victory in the game. I still do some balancing changes, but that will happen after. Right now it's the end of the game. It's on a lot of harder cards, and it's kind of like a last stand. Like, did you manage your resources effectively throughout the game? And yeah, second here you'll see it.
So what's next? So we had the opportunity, so working with Lockheed Martin gave us the opportunity to also give our game to them through a QR code or a website where they will actually present it in a booth in an expo which has audiences of younger students. These students will be able to try out our game and give us feedback. Now a game like ours, Cybersecurity, can't actually teach cybersecurity, but what it can do is start a conversation. We want them to ask us questions like, what is an IPS, which was one of our cards, or an IDS, or a malware, or when to use a firewall. These questions are what will inspire the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. Because our game is not here to teach, it's here to inspire. And with that, I'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation. And if you have any questions, ask away.
Where did the inspiration of this game come from?
So, as you can see by the name, it's the same side Royale. sounds very similar to a game called Clash Royale. That's because the PC server system was very inspired by Clash Royale and the Whiteboard. So that's where the main inspiration came from.
I thought it looked a bit like Plants vs Zombies, like most tower games, it's like you are attacking them as they go along, and you're just trying to keep them from going to the edge. And Plants vs Zombies was like one of the first games where the enemy attackers could actually damage the protectors. So.
Yeah, similar.
It was kind of like a mix of both. Like the firewall was meant to be that big seed.
The walnut.
The walnut, yeah.
I see that you guys explained how you're going to be presenting it at the STEM Expo, and you did do a great job of explaining the game. It was very nice to see. And do you plan on furthering this to become user-friendly for individual use, to like spark interest, like somebody at home playing the game and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would like to further this. I'd like to add like a tutorial, because you know how to explain everything. There's not a tutorial in the game yet. I would like to add that, and maybe we're gonna put it on GitHub. I think that's how we're gonna share it. So yeah.
The same question, what were the roles of each of you on the team? And did you design the game from scratch, or did you copy it from a game and modify it?
I did all the programming. He did the visuals and research, and Aidan did our slides and our research and all the other stuff that went into the project. We did create the game from scratch using Unity.
How did you come up with the schema of firewall being more powerful than other things, the IES, IPS?
Well, so there's a system in the game where certain cards will be unlocked later, and that's to compensate for the increased difficulty of the attacking cards. So it creates a difficulty curve that slowly increases in difficulty. So we wanted to compensate. We didn't want the player using the same cards over and over again. Additionally, you get more bites of the currency as the game goes on for 5 seconds, which is when you get them. So the more expensive cards make sense to put later in the game when you get more bites than put earlier.
Okay, but how are they aligned to the actual defenses that you learned about? Is it just random, or?
So actually, that is a good question. So firewall, well, we made that 5 health, 0 attack because it's like a wall. That's what we're thinking of. And one I liked was IPS and IDS. IDS is intrusion detection system. IPS is intrusion prevention system. So the intrusion detection system had more health but less damage. Protection had more damage and less health. It kind of went with the actual terms in real life.
And it came earlier because it's like more of a basic type of card, but like later you see Spyro and Ransomware, which are bigger attacks. And so we also like made it so the bigger the attack is, you get it later. And it's combined with real life as well, parallels with real life.
Yeah, all that sounds like a great part of your help, or your actual education portion during the game. So well done.
I just suggest that maybe there should be also an online mode where it's like a concept of one person is like the good guy and trying to protect the PC, while you're the person placing down like the hacking software, like one of the apps you suggested earlier in the presentation.
Good idea.
That's a great idea. Honestly, you might have.